Hello and welcome to the first test episode of Arrington playing Minecraft. I don't like that at all. I'm gonna restart. Heyo, welcome to Minecraft. My name is Arrington and today we are in my very first test episode, the remastered version. This is going to be most of the same clips from the first episode, but completely re-edited with updated commentary, a shortened resource collection time-lapse, and of course, less villager sounds. When I first created this episode, it was meant as a learning tool for me to present to friends and family in order to get the feedback needed to improve my content going forward. Now with that feedback in hand, I've decided to attempt this episode again, but better. Now I can't promise perfection. A lot of what I'm yet unhappy with is just the confidence and ease of speaking that comes with time. So with the release of this episode to the public, I've also decided to release the original as well, so that anyone interested can see the improvements firsthand. As well as my own personal example of improvement, I'm hoping that someday others will see this as well and it'll encourage them to persevere in their own endeavors. I'll also be using some of this time to point out areas of improvement, yet for myself, as well as possible advice for others to give it a shot. So one of the first things I learned after posting this original episode is to talk more. I had a few people watching that have never played Minecraft before, and so they enjoyed what they understood, but preferred I would have given more commentary about what was going on and my thoughts behind my building process. With this being my first episode and first time in front of a microphone, I was overly reserved and nervous about talking any more than necessary. While I still don't quite have that confidence nailed, I feel that my second attempt, the Viking episode, was narrated in a much better way. I also did some of my own research, timing my favorite Minecraft YouTubers and seeing how long they talked in an episode. Unfortunately, to my dismay, it averaged to roughly 80% of the episode, and I clearly needed some improvement. So with this being a fairly new survival world, I'm going to need to collect some resources in order to build our first house here on this test server. Unfortunately, the first time I did this, the time-lapse dragged on for much longer than necessary. Hopefully this remastered version is much more manageable. So for this particular build, I'm going to need some clay. Lots of clay. Somehow though, I managed to gather enough bricks to finish the build. That was not the case for the oak logs. Now when I first edited this time-lapse, I made the mistake of leaving it as one long section in the video. I was smart enough to speed it up, but hadn't yet learned some of the different editing techniques I could use to make it even shorter yet. Some of the main feedback I received for this episode originally was just how lackluster a long resource gathering time-lapse was. So in this version, I've not only halved the length of the footage, but also felt it my duty to stick through it here with you. Now, with the logs and clay collected, I'm going to go ahead and switch the video back to singular mining footage. The reason I put this time-lapse in the video at all, other than originally to help me pad the runtime, is because I was still only hours into this new world. I spent some time mining before any recording, and some of the diamond tools, but had not even begun to collect any of the resources I would need to build this small shop. This mainly became an issue with the aforementioned oak logs. Another piece of excellent feedback came in regards to the mining footage itself, shown in the original video as part of the long resource gathering time-lapse. For anyone that paid close attention, you'll notice I did manage to get myself killed right at the end. Now I kept this in the first video, but I didn't draw any attention to it, even though it can tend to be an interesting point to you, the viewer. As you can see, I valiantly fought off a zombie and a skeleton, bringing me all the way down to half a heart. I did not, however, get so lucky against the sand. Alright, so with most of our resources collected, I thought we were about ready to get into our very first building time-lapse. Spoiler alert, we were not ready. Not quite, but I'll get into that in a minute. The plan here is to build a small multifunctional seaside building. I plan on putting my first base, or rather my first small bedroom, on the upper floor. and a small shop front in the bottom. My thought is that if this were the actual multiplayer server, that it would give me an early opportunity to sell some items to others and make a few diamonds off to the side. I tend to build most of my bases with at least one side to the ocean. I always like the option of my buildings overlooking the sea, or when I'm feeling adventurous, I like to hop in a boat and sail off in the different directions. I'm also just partial to building ports, and I'm really hoping to work on my shipbuilding as well in this coming months. We were lucky with this world to have spawned right next to a village. It's always great to find a village early on as it provides quick shelter, beds, and even protection. Plus, it can give you a quick start into villager trading and collecting some emeralds. Alright, so first I'll explain the monstrosity sitting there next to the building. This was a quick auto smelter, and by quick I mean very quick. Just something so that it would start smelting through items and I didn't have to worry about it while I was building. Also got a bed set up over there, a couple chests scattered all over the place, there was junk in every one of them. And a crafting table. So you'll notice pretty quickly on here, I run out of oak logs. And not only once, on several occasions. I was definitely not prepared to do a long building time lapse. And I don't even know if it's fair that I say long. This is pretty short. But, like I said, first time, still learning, figuring things out. So there you saw me run off into the back, grow a bunch of trees, chop them down, and still not gather enough. But at least I did realize to stay close. That doesn't stay the case for long though. So from here I started to detail out the building, or at least what I had already. From there I will extend the path down towards the village and make sure it connects nicely with everything else. And hopefully here soon you'll see me take down the monstrosity. I turned that area into a nice little horse stable for the one and only horse I collected and never named. From there, I went ahead and finished up the roof of the shop. Alright, and so right here we're going to pause the time lapse for a second. And I want to point out that missing stair right there. Now, all in all, not a big deal. Total small detail. But mistakes happen. And I think as I'm going on, I'm learning that these mistakes are, well, entertaining. So, don't overlook your mistakes. Have fun with them. Point them out. I missed the opportunity to point out that I died earlier in the episode. And lost some entertainment value. I don't know why either. It's not that I'm so prideful to think that I don't die. Or don't die by something stupid like sand. But those mistakes happen. So point them out. Go with it. Go with the flow. You know? It's entertaining. It is what it is. No one's a perfect Minecrafter. You do what you do. So right there, missing stair. Now it'll be gone by the time you see the end footage anyways. I finished detailing some things up off camera. But, it happens. And so here we finished out the stables. Put a little roof on it. I'm gonna pause the footage again. And you'll notice there really isn't any footage. There is nothingness. Oh wait, no, there's a horse in the background that's still loaded in. This would be the second mistake made in my Minecraft time-lapse footage. I ran out of materials again, so I ran off to get some. Not even stopping to think that the way replay mod works is by capturing the footage of the area surrounding you. Well, the footage I wanted to capture was this building, not wherever I ran off to. So when I ran off, the footage follows, and you get left sitting here with a few frames of absolute nothingness. Again, I could have trimmed this out, or I could point out my mistakes so that you can learn from them, I can learn from them, and we can get better over time. So we'll push play again, and there's the house. And just in time for a finishing loop, I'm actually pretty proud of how this turned out. I like that it gives a nice cinematic shot around the building, showing you the front, the back, the sides, the stable, and the village in the background. Alright, and so rounding out the time-lapse footage, I want to note that unfortunately, the world the shop was built in was lost in the past few weeks. So while I was able to get to see the world and record again in the same area, I was unable to recreate some things. For that reason, the next footage is going to be the original footage. I'll pause it at one moment to point out something I'm not happy with, but overall the clip went fairly well. Now that being said, this is the one clip in which I was unable to re-record or edit out all of the villager sounds. I happened to be talking right as I walked past them, and since my recorded audio and the game audio were recorded on the same track, I couldn't turn them down without turning down my voice as well. Trust me when I say, I have learned my lesson from this mistake. I figure that this will also give you the chance to hear and see firsthand some of the differences between the old audio recording and what has been fully redone. And here we are, all finished with the building, at least for now. I've done a little bit of more decorating since you saw in the time lapse. Some things didn't translate as well over into it, and some things I just didn't do until after the time lapse video was shot. So here we go, we'll give you a short tour of what's been done, the insides and out. So up here we've got our stables for our horse, who doesn't yet have a name. I haven't found a name tag as of yet. Got our main building, the Arrington Wares store. Hi, it's future me again. Can't tell that I'm new to the moniker of Arrington when I can't even pronounce it right in my episode, huh? Okay, that is all. I've got some vines growing up the sides, some leaves and bushes. Got some storage out front for now. Here's where we'll keep our wares. And then upstairs there is a nice little bed area. Stove for cooking things early game. Bed, some more storage. And then we'll swing around back here. We've extended the path so it connects with the village. We'll pass by these villagers here. We need to work on attaching this path. It's kind of one of those awkward generated ones. And here is the back of the shop. We got some overhang there and a path right on down to some more storage there and what will be our enchanting setup. And so that's where we're at as of now. We'll continue to work. We've got this bay window here. All in all, I'm pretty happy with this build. It's looking good for a first building. Not too extravagant, but good setup for our first house here in the server. While unfortunately I can't record this updated conclusion in front of our lovely new shop, I still want to take this time to thank everyone for watching and giving this video a chance. If you haven't seen the original test episode, I want to encourage you to check it out. It really shows the progress I've made over the past month working on Minecraft content, and for those that have seen it, I want to go ahead and ask the same request of you. Leave a comment. Let me know what you liked, what you didn't, and how I can continue to improve. If you really liked it, then go ahead and leave a like, and if you are just as curious as I am about how this channel will continue to progress over the next month, then hit that subscribe button and keep an eye out for new content. And with that, I hope to see you all in the next episode. Unfortunately, the world where I first built that building was lost to time. And also I'm in creative. Surprise! Oh, that's fun.